Perhaps they would have wanted that Sven. I'd say it wouldn't be too bad of a choice if they just pick up the PA here. But no,
Mm.
back into the jug. Fair enough. You still have that that jug mag combination, so Empower Jug always going to be very, very strong. See if the Juggernaut does opt to avoid going Battle Fury this game. As I believe it was earlier on, we saw a series where the Jug still just bought Battle Fury regardless of having a mag or not.
Yeah. Uh, it stalls out the Jug. I think when you have the mag, you can just skip it, mainly because Jug is not a hero that particularly cares too much about the mana regen. Like his spells are somewhat spammable, but it's not like PA where you're just constantly throwing daggers out. So you would want that. You also kind of depend on like Blink Strike. Jug, not so much. You toss your spells every now and again, but you don't really spam them. So there's no justification for the regen. I think you could easily look at a Manta buildup, an SNY, if you want to farm a Mask of Madness, or a Drums if you actually do want to help your team fight. So options are there for Drew. We'll see what he opts for. Starting to tie up his draft. I don't think PA would have worked, mainly because PA into Oracle is super hard, and there's a Bat Rider for kind of single target control. Now, the Bat still controls the Jug, but at least the Oracle disarm is not as big of an issue there for Drew in this game. As long as he plays around with his spin properly, he should be fine. We'll see how 496 closes out, though. Whether or not they're running mag mid, snap mid, or mag off, what they last pick here is going to really set the tone of their draft because they do still hold on to that flexibility. And, we've seen a lot of support mag, it has kind of fallen flat, but it has worked with a Jug, right? You let the Jug free farm as a support mag, you just follow him, you get him power off. You'll eventually find a blink, and that's all you need. We'll see if that's how 496 kind of wants to run this, as the last pick tends to be their core pickup.
It does. 496 Gaming, the last pickup. What do they want? Among Us seem to believe it is going to be some kind of offlane hero. They know they're going to be up against the Sven. Because there is still potential for lane swaps here with that Sven Bat Rider, but leave that for later on. Alright, 1 second on that reserve time. They go for a Crystal Maiden. Fair enough, so offlane Snap, offlane Earth Spirit perhaps. One of the two, maybe even an offlane Mag, mid Snapfire. Either way, very flexible draft here for 496. Among Us, they have one pick left. I believe it is still an Abed hero they are requiring here. It's going to be a matter of what he does want to play this game.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Spirit Brothers are still available, except for that Earth Spirit, of course, because it's on 496. They can look at a Spirit Brother matchup if they are expecting that Earth Spirit. It's the flexibility. 496 is just really keeping their cards close to their chest. CM to close out in this draft, I guess, enables your Earth Spirit to run around a little bit more, enables your Mag to spam his spells out as well. So there is that. Enabled some early aggression from Earth Spirit. Like the Crystal Maiden slow is pretty nice. The root is pretty nice as well. So if they want to play fast in the tri lane, in fact, even just a dual lane of Jug CM, level 2, level 3 spikes are pretty nice. You get level 2 root, lock them in, spin on top, could find a kill. So it should be fairly good for 496 in the early game with a CM.
Sorry about that. So apparently a party's going on in my house. So
No
you
problem.
you tell your wife not to let their brothers in the room when you're at work, but instructions too hard to follow apparently. Uh, Last pickup here for the side of Among Us.
Hmm. Thinking hard. I
Yeah,
think they might be thrown off with the potential matchups. Like a Snap lane is very different from a Magnus lane. A Magnus lane is very different from an Earth Spirit lane. So they're kind of caught off guard here, unless we're seeing some no disconnects, nothing funky in this lobby. So they're just really caught off guard.
they'll go for the
Timbersaw.
Timbersaw. Okay, all right. I mean, I guess there is a lot of strength heroes here in the Mag Snapfire. Should be a decent Timber game. How are they going to lane all this is the real question. We'll find out soon.
Yeah, it's Hung Magnus. So Abed up against Hung down mid. That's a Magnus versus Bat lane. That's a pretty decent lane for both sides. I think you've got some mobility in the Magnus to kind of turn around, but if you're sticking Ape up, it's a risk. You also have the skewer plays, so it's a back and forth there. IYD Sven, laning with Oracle, straightforward lane. It's not one that the Sven should be bugged out on. March loves his Oracle, of course. You've got that BB on the offlane snap. So Jokam on the Earth Spirit, and that one is a bit of a treat. It's been a while, but Jokam does perform excellently in that Earth Spirit. Should be one to watch out for. Bombi on the CM. Again, we talked about the combination. CM plus Jug is fairly scary. Once you hit that level 3 spike, so level 2 spin, level 2 root, lock them in. You should find a kill. It is a bit tricky against a Timber Saw, but Timber is super weak until he hits like level 3 himself. So that's something 496 can look to maximize, look to bully out, and maybe find an early kill in the Timb.
Sorry, John. It's just a little bit, you know.
What? What is it? The party or?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't worry about it, John. Don't, it's just, you know,
For a moment, I thought Luna snuck into the room.
that wouldn't have been a problem, John.
Okay, now I've got to watch the stream. You know.
Oh, great. Oh, I don't. Hopefully, nothing inappropriate was shown on the stream. Jesus Christ.
Wait, you're telling me Chris snuck behind you?
Yeah, he did,
Chris
John. Yeah.
I love it. I wish I could catch that. I'm not sure where it is. Still, we're going into the game, Mike. We're going in. We're fine. We're progressing here. 496. No, again, they need to find a win. This is their last series. They drew their series yesterday. There's a lot of pressure to get this one as a clean 2-0, but of course, Among Us, top team. They might not, they're probably going to make that as hard as possible. Now, you have to remember they did play a series a while ago. There was a 20-minute break because of that, but you are still playing back-to-back. So that might be a factor here. We'll see if Among Us can kind of shake off that first game and get something done, but 496, they are smoked up and they're looking to run down hard.
Yeah, they are. See what they can get done.
Normally.
Now I'm going to get into the triangle. Zephyr might be the unfortunate victim, but he hasn't skilled anything up yet, so he can go for the Icarus dive. Instead, they spot out March, but Jokam did kind of make it obvious there that they are around, and March does not get caught out. A bit preemptive from 496, maybe just getting a little bit too excited. That's going to mean that the, at the very least, the bottom lanes are going to be almost guaranteed fit in your dream. Hung and Dat BB are trying to make it over, so they are splitting up and getting a little bit greedy here with these bounties. In your dream, I wonder if he still bothers trying. He is. He's going to go for one. He probably won't be able to get the second.
Normally.
But they've already got two. So it is going to be a 2-for-2 trade.
You look stunned.
Duh. In your dream continues to give it over to that BB as he hands out much more harassment and eventually backs off.
It's a pretty darn good start for Sven. Now, take a peek at mid first. Of course, that's our Magnus versus Bat Rider lane. And Abed should have a good time here, but Hung goes with level 1 in power. Is ready. Instant magic wand on the deck, as you'd want up against a Bat Rider. So you should be able to hold its own. But Abed shouldn't be too pressured as well. We'll see how it unfolds. I think level 3 is the spike we're looking for. And it's those first power runes as well, although they are rolling down bot. IYD.
Gonna give it a crack, but in your dream, he's pretty tanky as that Pos one Sven. It's gonna be a little bit hard to burst him down this early on. It looks like he is gonna be just fine. Top lane, Bombi, Zephyr gonna be up against each other. Of course, with Drew and Cuckoo. Bombi trying to salve, but it is gonna be cancelled off by the Fire Spirits out from Zephyr. And to make matters worse, I believe he also had a Clarity going. So losing both of those at once from one Fire Spirit from Zephyr. He's going to try and really give it to Zephyr now, though. But those neutral creeps are going to do a lot of damage to Bombi if he's not too careful. He'll keep going after Zephyr. Doesn't have another spell to cast. but he has forced out the Phoenix, and as well as that, he does get himself the Courier of Cuckoo.
That's a pretty fantastic start here for our CM. All things considered, still regening up quite nicely. Now, we did talk about the spikes of Cuckoo and said that his start is a bit slower. He's just uncontested. Bombi not able to really soak some EXP to get a fast 2. They're going to have it now, but I don't think Drew is in a position to really leverage it. So Cuckoo should be able to ramp up quite nicely. And, you know, we tend to say this, but when you are up against a Timbersaw, you want that first blood against this hero. Level 1 is just such a slow start for it. But doesn't look like 496 have really invested the resources to get that done.
No, they haven't. How's our mid lane going? Hung. It's a tough lane up against the Batrider. Obviously, as the mag, there's not really much you can do, and considering Arbed is level 3 now, he does have a lot of kill potential if he does get the sticky napalm stacks off. That he is doing. Might even dive here. He does skill up the Firefly. Hung going for the TB attempt. Will make it out just barely, but now the roll in from JoeCam with the boulder smash might be enough to get Arbed if Hung can close the gap. He does get the shockwave off, but Arbed still trying to fight back with the Firefly. JoeCam is going to survive.
Whoa.
No, Arbed. He gets the first blood, and it looks like he might just get away unless the shockwave connects. But no, Hung doesn't bother going for it, and Arbed, he's going to get a first blood, run back to Fountain, but it looks like he is going to be alright.
That's a pretty big win for Abed. I think you're going to be happy overall with that kind of result. You forced a rotation mid, doesn't really do anything, so you're freeing up your side lanes, which helps IYD farm. You've already had a bit of a slow start bot for 496, so, you know, Dat BB and JoeCam just not finding the pressure onto IYD. Slowing down this Earth Spirit is a pretty big deal. You know, you're not going to get those successful rotations. Is going to be up before the 4-minute runes, but looks like JoeCam might want to just commit and keep some vision out for those power runes, kind of prevent Abed from sniping something nice like a haste.
Absolutely. Abed. He's actually going to get the haste.
Oh, it is a haste.
Yeah, he's going to get the haste, so he's going to go after Hung. He's not going to get Cliff Diver, Arbed. He does get the kill. Now JoeCam is also going to be in trouble. He just committed his role, so there's no way out on Arbed.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's so unlucky for 496, but extremely lucky for Arbed. John,
Oh.
you've cursed him, sir. You've done it.
That's...
Congratulations.
Is that a curse, or did I bless Abed? You know, I
Well-
didn't curse for anything. I blessed Abed.
Okay.
I blessed him.
I'll give you that.
I gave him that haste.
Okay.
Haste on demand for you, Abed, just for you. Still,
Are you Ice Frog,
you know-
John?
hey, I know about the tick server. Maybe, man. You never know. Still, they have to watch. Abed now, you know, level 5. He gets to pull the wave. He gets to clear the camp, and Hung a full level behind. Not a pleasant start. He's gonna have to share farm with his Jug. There is a lot of reliance now on the Snap, on the Earth Spirit, and even on CM to buy some space out mid-game, clear the jungle out, get some stacks going, because that's how 496 bounce back now. They're 2k behind at 5 minutes. That's pretty significant for the laning phase.
Well, March is going to be in danger down at that bot lane. That BB is going to be able to get the kill, but does get stunned up by In Your Dream. Looks like they are going to be both fine as JoeCam going to try and get some harassment out, but with that Warcry armor, there's not really much damage you can do physically to the Sven. It's going to be alright. Well, mid lane, Zephyr is still having a look at Hung on the mag. It's like Hung is going to have some help coming in as well from the backside, and it's going to be Bombi, but here we go. The lasso is up on Arbed. He will go after Hung. The skewer away, but he brings the Batrider with him, and that means he's going to be burnt alive as Bombi even is going to get dived here. Arbed going to de-aggro the tower for a second. He'll get Bombi. That'll be a double and a mega kill streak now for the Batrider, and both of them survive unless JoeCam gets in, gets a nice boulder smash off. Almost gets Zephyr with it as well. Now, he does claim quite a bit of gold off Arbed. But as the Batrider, I'm sure you are still very, very happy.
Oh, you're just dancing right now. You went 5-0. You got clipped at the end, but you're making this Magnus lane living hell. You forced 2 TPs from supports. And no, you forced the entire offlane to go up there. JoeCam and Dat BB. kind of having to diverge towards that mid. Again, freeing up space for IYD. Already has the Morbid Mask. Might have the Mask of Madness already flying out. Yeah, he does. So that's like a sub 7-minute mom, naked with no boots, but after the bracer on top. Free farm Sven lane. And even that top lane, it's a Timbersaw lane. You know, Cuckoo is also finding some pretty darn good farm. A full wave ahead of Drew. So every single lane here being won out by Among Us, and 496, they're going to have to find some recovery. They're going to have to get some stacks up, play with the Magnus, play with the Empower to catch up here.
Drew gonna go for a spin TP away into the mid lane, I believe. Just gonna join his teammate. RP is gonna be out. They've caught Arbed. They do not have Omni, but it won't matter. In fact, Bombi is gonna go down, but they got Arbed. That's the one they wanted. Cam now gonna go for a bit of a roll. He's trying to pick off that courier, I think, but he's not gonna catch it out. Zephyr is going to stick around that mid lane for a bit. Does have to be somewhat cautious though, because Drew now has hit the level 6 on the jug. But everything still seems to be going fairly evenly, or just better for Among Us's top lane. Cuckoo is still just split pushing the lane, just tanking the creep wave. There's not really much they can do to stop him. Looks like mid lane Arbed was looking for a lasso opportunity onto the jug, but doesn't quite get one.
Yeah, you can see again, 496 are just forced to clump up a lot more early on, trying to counteract this aggression we're seeing from Abed. They're at the point where they can't really contest that Cuckoo lane. You kind of have to surrender to this Timbersaw, really early top tier 1 being melted down. They're not in a position to get their own push just yet. So all they can do is sit back, farm with this Empower, hold out. They do have 6.BB. We saw the first kisses not really line up too much. I mean, it did at least getting that one kill, but it's not really enabled any objectives. And that BB's just going to keep that bot lane constantly shoved in. But again, if they don't get these objectives, then there's nothing to stop Among Us. This is just free space for IYD. Mom in the jungle. He doesn't need a Battle Fury. He doesn't need Empower. It's a Sven. It's always just going to naturally farm a bit faster at this point in the game.
That it is. It's like Cuckoo's also rotated down to the bot lane now on the Timber, just to make sure that lane does not get pushed in, and they'll just try and hold the tier 1 tower. Arbed going for a bit of a chase on the easy target of Bombi. Let's get a nice easy kill onto the CM. It's going to be a tough game for Bombi, as Arbed probably will just aim him every single time he sees him. Such an easy kill. Overall, I mean, this game's going just splendidly, right? Like 3k net worth lead. You pointed out the fact that In Your Dream is just freely farming on a Sven. He's going for that standard MOM Echo Saber build into the Aghanim Scepter and BKB, I'm sure. They're going to try and go onto Cuckoo now. With the Mortimer's Kisses, they might just have enough. Cuckoo is going to try and chain away, but there's no trees there. He is going to die. And at the very least, 496 do get rid of the Timber.
I'd say that's a pretty big pickup for them. They don't have to contend with creep waves be getting cut out, and they do manage to inject some gold into themselves. So the trio is finding some pickoffs to play against and kind of punish here, and they need a bit more though.
Hung, gonna go with the RP onto Arbed, but he has the Firefly, so he just goes. The Omni not really doing anything. They're still gonna try and spin onto the Batrider. Arbed will eventually die, perhaps. He goes for the lasso. Sunray is there. In Your Dream still trying to fight, but 496 happy to oblige. They'll turn back around. They will get the Sven now. Into the Phoenix. Zephyr is getting very, very low, but they might not have any further control. But I'd say you are still very satisfied. In fact, they're going to turn back around now. But Drew, he's going to spin away, and Hung still happy to try and fight if they do want. But I mean, you got the Sven and the Batrider. You've got to be happy about that if you're 496.
Oh, you definitely are. That drags the lead down to just 1k now for the side of Among Us. 496. This is something that we talked about from draft, but Drew is able to go for a bit more of a fighting build. A Mask of Madness tends to be more for farming, but with the Omni it can be for fighting, although...
They're going up to Bombi. First dive in, Fortune's End is there, Bombi, he'll die. Now the egg comes out, that BB, he already committed that little shredder. So Zephyr knew he could get away with the egg, but it's not really going to lead to much. It's just a zoning egg here for Cuckoo and Abed to get back to work on that tier 1 tower. We'll eventually get the tier 1 mid, and that'll pretty much be it. Unless 496 is going to try and initiate, and Hung might try for a skewer back, but even if he got it, there'd probably be no point in it. Meanwhile, Abed bot lane does catch out the Jug with the lasso through the spin. Drew's going to try and run away. He'll try for the TP play. Is he going to make it? He actually will. Wow. All right. They didn't have the damage output.
That's really unfortunate for Among Us. You really want that kill in the Jug, prevent him from getting his farm up. Yeah, Drew is within 100 gold of our Sven, so that's a really good point for the Jug. And again, he can fight a little bit better because of how Mom interacts with Omni Slash now. It's just so nice to have that the additional slashes coming through. And you can see 496, they're hitting a stride. They're smoked up, trying to hunt around the triangle, barely missing out on IYD. They're trading away their bot tier 1 though, but it's not the lane they particularly care for anymore. And they are feeling confident. So they're finding the farm. There's a double damage on Hung. He's got his Echo Saber flying in as well. And they've got damage. They've got ways of getting out in front. They just need to blink on this Magnus, and then you're pretty much good to go fully on 496.
Cuckoo gets a tier 1 bot tower, but Drew looks to fight out with Bombi. Bombi gonna channel the ulti, and he's probably gonna get away with it as well. March, he commits the false promise on Cuckoo instead of himself, just to make sure the Timber gets through it, and he does. Still a nice ulti there from Bombi. Abed keeping eyes out on towards the high ground. Looks like Among Us are just gonna decide to back off now. They've already got the objective they wanted. That'll be enough.
No need to risk it. It's a huge rotation at the back line of 496 to try and prevent any further push. Now there is still a 3k lead here from Among Us. They're still fairly happy even with that support sort of trade a while ago. But I think one thing that's hurting for Among Us right now is the fact that, you know, Cuckoo's not really on a snowball start. He's still up there in farm, but it's all rather even between all of our cores. We're not seeing Cuckoo and able to cut through between the tier 2, tier 3 just yet. Does have his Hood of Defiance. That should simplify the process. But 496's response to the Timbersaw has been pretty apt, although Bombi might be a bit too far.
Gets the D-ward off. Frostbite seems to be enough to hold Cuckoo back. He'll be right.
Yeah, they're still buying space out here. Blink for Hung is about 900 off. Once you've got that, easier time to land the RPs. You're always just empowering Drew, so he is keeping pace with IYD, although IYD does pull slightly ahead. And speaking of IYD, the Halberd is about to come out here. So just lacking the talisman into the recipe, about 600 gold away from both. And once you've got that, the Jug has to be very careful with when he tosses his Omni. He can potentially toss the Omni while disarmed, and you're not having a good time if that happens.
That BB gonna run into Zephyr. Zephyr gonna Icarus dive, but Hung is waiting. And he's gonna be forced to egg. He will not survive, however, the little Shredder will be more than enough. Abed gonna try and get some kind of kill into return, but the RP gonna be out from Hung. That's gonna be Abed going down. Uh-oh. Among Us, I'm not sure about these plays. It's gonna cost them if they keep dying like this.
It is. It is. They've slowed down the pace of Abed and Cuckoo. These are the two cores that get out.
Into the Oracle, that BB again with the Scatter Blast. Plenty of damage there, and the little Shredder will get it done. Cuckoo is going to be there by himself to defend, but Jokam just rolls straight in, and now the Mortimer's Kisses are going to fly out with the Crystal Maiden ultimate in your dream. A 4-man Stormhammer out with the Guard Strength, and now the lasso there from Abed. But do they have enough follow-up? It doesn't look like they do. Drew, he's just going to run away with the spin. They are all just trying to dissipate. Abed will chase them down. There goes that BB, but Bombi's actually going to buy back on the CM just in case. He does not want anyone else dying. Very close call there with that massive Stormhammer. ultimately, they only get the snap. 496, they should be pretty satisfied with that.
They definitely are. They still found a bigger end of the trade. They did buy back in Bombi for no real gains, but you're fine with that. It's just your pause 5. Among Us, though, they still hold on to a 3K lead, although... Ooh, wow. Hung, brave. Almost melts Suffer right there. And you are seeing this Magnus really start to flex itself, right? Blink, Echo Saber. Hung is really strong now. They will have RP in about 25 seconds, and once that's up, you know, 496 could just look to do it again.
Casual Van Brace being left behind. Bombi will go ahead and pick it up for the team. Just playing the split pushing game right now Among Us. They are just still holding on to that net worth. I wonder what itemization In Your Dream goes for now, because you'd expect the Ags to be coming out soon, but it looks like he is going to opt for the BKB instead. Does have that level 15 talent.
Yeah, I think the BKB is okay here, considering that, I mean, you've got this Oracle that can save you, but you still want to have free reign for the most part, especially if you expect 496 to play smart and target March first, which they have whenever they can. So I think a little bit of independence on In Your Dream is going to be very helpful, and you just need to wait. It's a waiting game, although Hung knows where Cuckoo is.
Hung misblinked. I believe he was meant to blink towards Cuckoo, but got it wrong there. Will that be going to come in? Does have the cookie if he wants to go onto the timber, but won't even bother trying. Cuckoo will happily go onto them, but here comes the Mortimer's Kisses with the control out. Cuckoo is going to try and chain away, and the Omni is going to be committed, but a big RP out from Hung. He caught the back lines. He's going to kill off March and Zephyr. They're still trying to fight this one out with the Stormhammer and the God Strength. They get Cuckoo, but Bombi does go down on the CM. Drew still trying to chase down In Your Dream. They just surround the Sven. They don't care for the God Strength if there's this many numbers, and In Your Dream, he can't fight them out. Now Cuckoo buying back, but he might die back if he's not too careful. He is falling due to that Spirit Vessel out from Jocam. Going down, Drew still happy to oblige with the spin now. Cuckoo is going to die. To die back on the timber, roll back in from Jocam with the kickback up on March.
Ooh.
That'll be your Oracle dead. Abed's going to try and clean up. Go on to Hung. Drew right behind, does have to spin up in a second. Abed back onto that BB. Needs to be a little bit careful. He's run out of Firefly, so Drew is going to have a turn around. Does kill off Abed, but now the Sun Ray is going to kill off Drew. Oh, what the hell just happened?
Did we? That was pretty much a full team wipe on a full team wipe.
Two full team wipes, John.
Normally.
And a dieback.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous from both sides. I mean, today was hairy Dota. That's a very hairy fight. You know, that was not clean at all for both sides. Really good start, though, from 496. The RP is just doing a lot of work. IYD needs more damage. IYD needs more damage, and he needs that BKB. So a little bit more patience here from Among Us has to be the play. The net worth lead has dropped, though, although March.
Oh, March. It's going to be caught out. An awkward positioning there from our Oracle. So, I mean, the net worth graph, you were just pointing it out, but it is getting lower and lower.
Ooh. Yeah, even Dota Plus has kind of shifted. 41% the way of Among Us now, 59 the way of 496. It was slightly Among Us favored earlier, but they have kind of dropped the ball. They need to line up their spell use a bit better. Really start to find some fights. They need Cuckoo to somehow be a little bit tankier as well. He's going for this Lotus Orb. That's going to help massively. Once it's up, it's just, it needs to get up. So now you're sharing farm between Cuckoo, Abed, and IYD. All of them need to find these key items. There's a little bit less map to play with compared to 496. Like, Drew is just having a free run here. Hung is just keeping them power up. He pretty much just needs his BKB recipe. and then he's set. Like, they can give so much space away to the Jug in this game. They don't require as much on their other cores now that these initial items have been formed up. And they can look to make some plays. They've got the Gobble up ready to go. They've got the Kisses. They've got RP. They could just look to fight.
Gonna try, but it seems like Among Us are gonna be ready for this. Hanging around in that mid lane, 496 understand that this Cuckoo Timber is trying to bait in the mid lane, and instead they're gonna go to the back lines where they'll find Zephyr. They understand what's going on, and the Gobble Up is gonna be out. Another 2 dead. I really like that kind of play from 496, just already kind of figuring out what they were trying to do on the side of Among Us and not falling for it. In fact, that PP going in for a cookie onto Arbed. Now the silence is out from Joe Cam with the slow. They're going to force a buyback from Zephyr and back off.
Hey, you still have RP though. Gotta be careful with a clump up here if you're Among Us. They do have that BKB and Lotus Orb, but I think 496, they're not too scared of that buyback.
They are not. Sean going down. They are going to try and fight this one out. Among Us not willing to let this go for free. Drew already has the healing ward down outside of the pit, but there's your lasso out from Arbed. They want to try and burst Drew down, but he's going to survive through the initial burst. They might eventually get him though. No, he's surviving with the Omni Slash, bouncing around back into the Roshan pit of all things. Drew is going to go for a run away. The Glimmer Cape saving with the spin TB. He is going to make it out. Bombi, he tries for the ulti, but it is going to be no good. Back into the Roshan pit for Among Us.
Strange, Hung did not get off an RP at all. They might be able to get one here though.
Here's the try, but Arbed is kind of gatekeeping that Roshan pit as it is being taken by In Your Dream. Hung cannot get the blink off. It is being continuously cancelled. In Your Dream does have the Aegis. Now going to try for a bit of a chase onto Joe Cam, but he's going to be just fine. Meanwhile, I can't say the same for Hung. He's going to be forced to commit the 10-second BKB charge to not take too much damage from that flame break.
I'm wondering where Hung was. I really expected the RP to come in when they saw Drew getting caught out. It just never did, and that cost them in the fight. They had their spells ready. They even had Kisses on hand, but they couldn't blind it up 496. And Among Us do manage to turn it. Like, they only expand God's Strength and the Lasso, but no, not even the Lasso. They hold on to the Egg. They've got options here for the next fight. Second life up on IYD. BKBs are up. There is an MKB up on Drew, so there is additional damage now on your Jug. It's still rather even, though I wouldn't say 496 is at a disadvantage. They just need to play with these spells.
Hung is going to go for Arbed now down the bot lane, but
Oh,
misses the
God,
RP.
what?
Oh, just a centimeter too short there onto Arbed, and he's going to go for the lasso. BKB, TP out. Real shame there for Hung, as had he landed that, it would have basically been a guaranteed kill, but he does not.
That's massive missed opportunity. It's going to allow Among Us to kind of find more angles. Like, this frees up that top push. They're confident they can clump up now. IWD can kind of get the damage in if he wanted. Drew is alone. That's a pretty scary spot. He's going to have Omni soon, so it might be an opportunity.
Spin TP. Drew's going to be just fine. One of the real strengths of that Jug always being able to push out while knowing that they just can't cancel your TP unless they had Lasso and Arbed, but they do not at the moment. Still T2 towers about to be traded between the two.
Not quite lined up for 496. Working their way down bot, and by the time they're there, the top two is just gonna fall. So good moves out from Among Us. They can go to defend if they wanted to, and they will.
Give it a shot. Joe Cam going to be able to roll away. Stormhammer will follow him down though, and Cuckoo, it looks like he wants to keep the chase up. Do smoke up, so they want to try and break this gap. RP up in 35 seconds. Still a while away, so 496. Yeah, they're just going to just back off as fast as possible. Among Us, they are still chasing in,
Now, nobody wins.
but they're not going to catch anyone.
Normally,
Not going to be able to get away just fine, 496.
Yeah, they managed to get a good scan out to know that the chase was still on, so they just pull all the way back. Really good use of that scan, and 496 get to kind of wait out. Now they can just fully wait for that RP. They can be the initiators. They can kind of set the terms of this next fight. They might want to wait, though. I think Drew needs that Ags that he's saving up for, but looks like they'll just go.
Mid lane, Hung. Spawn out Zephyr. Gobble up play from that BB.
Normally.
While that's happening, In Your Dream and Cuckoo are pushing out the bot tier 2, and that's going to force a rotation out from Hung. Does have the RP up, but he's going to need some help. They also have the Mortimer's Kisses, and that's a nice RP, catching out both of them straight off the bat with the Shockwave and the Skewer back. They'll try and chain away with the False Promise out from March, but here come the Mortimer's Kisses, not really connecting on anyone yet. They'll go on to Arbet. No, in fact, they will go on to March instead, just get rid of that Oracle. Meanwhile, Joe Camp trying to catch out anyone else. Cuckoo will try and chain away here, but he is trapped between a rock and a hard place. He's also going to go down. A 3-for-0 trade for 496. Now they are starting to look very good in this game number 2 as well. In fact, Gobble Up, not quite on point for Arbet. But they do take over the net worth lead.
Yep, it's just a very slight lead now for 496, but it's a good sign for their momentum. They have managed to wrangle control back, and Among Us are just kind of sitting in this Aegis. They don't have too long left on IYD's Aegis. Just about, I don't know, 15 seconds left, so it's going to go soon. I think if they wanted to fight, that would have been the fight. They need to drag their bodies down. When they saw the RP come in, they could have had some follow-up, but it's a bit too disjointed, and 496... they're in a pretty good spot. There is a smoke here, though, Among Us, but they have to know that Aegis is going to go, and it does.
Arbet is going to catch out Bombi. Easy +5 kill there onto Bombi. Question is, can they get anyone else? Well, that BB is going to be spotted, and Arbet is going to go for a dive with the lasso and the Firefly, dragging him back into In Your Dream, and that's a much more valuable kill. So +5 and +3 being taken out here, and it looks like they might even try to pressure the mid-tier 2 tower. Should be able to get away with this, unless Drew can make some real flashy plays. But he's just 400 gold away from that Aghanim Scepter. I probably wouldn't risk anything right now.
Yeah, it's, he's just trying to shove back. He knows there's no way to break his TP just yet. So he just clears out the wave, prevents a further push into the tier 3. They do still end up losing that tier 2 though, but they don't have to deal with a high ground. It is still a bit risky as well. Now, there are some good items being picked up here from 496 though. The Silver Edge finished up on Hung, so you can kind of walk around, have another angle for initiation, break Timbersaw, and that could make it hard for Cuckoo if he hasn't built up his stack. So he's got to be aware of that break coming in now. And 496 again. They've got the Ags up on Drew, as you mentioned, was very close. Up now. They can look to make a smoke play. They've got Gobble Up, they've got Kisses, they've got RP. 496 should look to be on the offensive once more.
That they should. Drew is looking very farmed up. It's going to be super hard to fight into the Swift Slash for this fan. Unless you do get the lasso off on the jug. Even then, though, I think Drew might just have enough time to be able to get the Swift or Omni Slash off. There are start on that bottom tier 2 tower now, 496.
They're gonna throw their bodies out. Fortify was expended, so they should be able to get that done. Looks like, I mean, Among Us don't really have an objective to trade. They've already taken top and mid, so there's really not much they can do if they don't defend, and they don't. So they let it slide through, and 496 does get to pick up an outpost for themselves. Is a bit too late, as, you know, we are well past the 30-minute mark, but that does give them access into that jungle. They've got a TP point to play with now. And they keep farming up. They're building up a nice little lead, or at least maintaining that 1k lead. I would like to see that reveal on the Silver Edge soon. I think you do want to use these spells. You've got a huge advantage over Among Us in terms of the overall team fight. And you need to kind of keep that pressure. So you look at IYD, Mike. Ags is up. It's going to be the AC next into that Daedalus. Our Sven is starting to hit those very big timers that the Sven tends to love.
He does. I don't know if it's going to be enough against the Jug. That's my concern here for In Your Dream. We'll find out soon. I mean, the smoke is here. Arbet's going to have a look, see if he can find an easy lasso target. And he may just, as the smoke does break, that BB, he pops the BKB early, trying to chase somebody down. Will eventually just settle onto Bombi. Be your lasso down for the CM kill. Drew now might feel confident to go in. I mean, the one thing that can kill him is the lasso. I don't think he's scared of much else. Gets the Swift Slash onto Cuckoo. Won't bother with the Omni yet. Gobble up. It's going to be out. Hung was in there, but only got the Sven. So that's going to be it.
Yeah, it looks like 496 is not confident with a man down. I think they want to see him around. We have them getting some value from these freezing fields Bombi's been throwing out. And they just can't get an angle. Maybe this time with a Silver Edge hung. But Among Us have kind of splintered off now. They are doing the Roche, or at least Cuckoo's trying to bait it.
He will bait it successfully. Drew will move over, but it's not going to really lead to much. Smoke up as well. Gobble up. This is going to be out. They've caught out the Timbersaw, and with the break, they should be able to burst down Cuckoo fast. But the Omni Slash is there, going through two. The False Promise is going to save Arbed's life. Drew will spin, TP away, and In Your Dream will have to just settle for another. That'll be Bombi. So nice team fight out for Among Us. It looked like it started off pretty badly for them. The False Promise from March really did save the day. Now they claim themselves a nice Roshan.
It's going to be a really big objective for Among Us to take now. That's going to be the second Roche for Aegis Cheese on their end. 496. Maybe pulling a bit too much onto Drew now. Like the damage output of our Jug is just not that amazing while the Oracle gets to live. You have to also remember, this is like a physical core against Sven. Right, like even with the MKB, most of your damage is going to be from your actual physical right clicks. And you have to remember, Warcry is 15 bonus armor. That just mitigates a lot that the Sven wants to pump out. You've already got natural tanky heroes here as well, like Timbersaw, Cuckoo.
He's going to get kicked back, but do they have the damage output for it? Well, they definitely do, apparently. It does go down. Cuckoo literally pushing a tier 3 tower by himself. Maybe a little bit overly confident from him. Does get a fair bit of damage off onto it, but the rest of his team was pretty far back, and ultimately he does end up dying basically for free.
Yeah, it's I mean, you're not going to question that if you're 496. You can be very pleased with grabbing that, and it does allow them to just kind of get some space going, but the lead for Among Us is still growing. It's up 3k now. Drew is still #1 in farm, so he's just making use of his magnets quite well. Can just instantly buy out the Scotty, which should help the cause. At the very least, more stats, a nice slow, one way to kind of mitigate that regen that does fly through here from Among Us with this Oracle Phoenix. Can kind of work that into their way now as they are trying to invade the jungle. Their scan does not reveal anything though. Like they'll catch anyone, but they might catch them on the low ground.
Firefly's going to be popped. Navigand to see who they can spot out. Can't find anyone. 496, they remain grouped up and they'll stay away from Among Us. Want to be able to initiate on their terms. The mid lane it is for the side of Among Us though. But Cuckoo may have been a bit too far. We'll get away with it. The Dream looking to initiate on the Sven. Won't be able to get it done yet.
It's, they've stalled long enough that the AC is up here for IYD, so additional tankiness can be hard to rip through him.
They have spotted out in your dream, and RP is going to catch an Arbit, but the false promise again from March is going to save the day in your dream. Going to go on to the true Jug. He's trying to run. He is quite fast, but they're going to chase him down. They really want this Juggernaut, but the Omni Slash is going to be their Arbit. Dropping low, but the bounce, it is going to bounce back. Now in your dream, being left alone, will lose the Aegis and is going to be surrounded. He's going to try and fight back. He does not have the God Strength, however, and that makes it much, much harder. He tries to TP. He doesn't have buyback at the moment, which is why he tried for that. And they even find another Drew. He gets a triple kill on the Jug. A full team wipe as 496, they drop nobody. And it's down the mid lane for them.
That is such a big win for 496. They get the 4K lead. They've got a clear shot at the high ground. They have so much to play with. They are going for bot instead. They want to get some racks fast. It's going to be a big one. Like, they're going to be racks up. I don't think they know that the Sven does not have buyback. I think they suspect that there is. That's why they're skipping the tier 2 and just going for the safer play. They should still go down fast though. And Among Us, they've got to hold out somehow. There are only 2 heroes. Abed's respawn's a bit too long, but he doesn't want to buy back so close, and looks like they'll just surrender 2 racks. 1 racks for now.
They don't really have a choice in the matter here. Again, 496 making it. It hasn't been easy for them, but in a close matchup up against Among Us, they are pulling well and truly ahead. 2 racks is up. That'll be it. They'll back off now. They've still got a top tier 2 tower to take. Gonna revolve around the next Roshan timing for 496. You know, you were talking before we even started this series, John, that they did want to definitely get a 2-0 victory if they can afford to. Now, it's looking pretty good. It looks like it is very likely they might get that.
Just so important for them to kind of hold on to their slot here, and they're barely in the lower bracket starter for playoffs. And if they get this one, I think they hammer in that spot. So we'll see if they can hold on. There is an AC now up as well on Hung. Again, you know, it's one of those things. When you see an enemy AC, your own AC is one way to counteract that because of its own plus armor aura, minus armor aura, counteracting the other one. So you've got a way now to negate that durability from IYD, at least from his pickup. There needs to be more damage. IYD is just having some damage issues here, although.
Toss on top of the cliff. Drew gets vision, kills off March on the Oracle. Now onto Cuckoo. He's really not that tanky anymore, and he is going to go down.
Normally.
Uh-oh. 2 heroes without buyback on Among Us. There still isn't that top tier 2 tower going down, but it doesn't really seem to matter. Drew's thinking about going for tier 4s now.
I don't like it. They just want the win. They're not going to take their time. They're not going to give openings. Can they execute here, though? They still have RP. IYD's got to find an angle if he wants to defend.
He does. It's going to be tough. They are sitting the fountain right now, waiting for the right moment. They'll go for the lasso. They have March back up now. The lasso back into the fountain. Drew, he does still have the Omni. He will not get it off in time. March. Or rather, Drew. That BP. Try and blink out of there and does. Arbet. To go for the chase. So they might be able to get them here. Stormhammer in. They have caught out Hung. They'll try and just skewer away. Pops the BKB, but Arbet still on the chase. Will get turned on now by Hung, but he is definitely going to die in your dream, or maybe not. They do go invis, but no, it's not going to matter. And Drew, that last team fight, he got silenced by something.
Invisibility.
I'm pretty sure, because he had Omni and Swift Slash, but he did not commit.
I'm
Something
not
happened.
entirely sure as well. I know there was a gobble up save from the lasso, but I'm not sure how that ended up. It's just so awkward now. They've got this exposed ancient, but their top set of racks are still safe as mentioned because of that tier 2. 496 need to execute a bit better. They did find the angle. You know, we said there was a lot of pressure on IYD. He delivers, they hold on. They are still 2 lanes down. There's still a 10k lead here from 496. And Among Us need to find a way to work this map back towards their way. There's not too much time left until the Magnus respawns. And again, you're stuck in the situation where you have a couple of buybacks back up here for Among Us, but they probably don't want to have to expend them. So they've got to get as much as possible while being a bit safe.
Gonna try to get a mid-racks going. The range racks going down very easily. Swift Slash going to be out from Drew. He'll spin. Roll in is going to be there from Joe Cam, but the BKBs are going to be popped and Arbit goes for the lasso straight into the back lines onto that Snapfire.
Ooh.
They've got Joe Cam. Looks like they might even get that BB with the Stormhammer back. They do get him. The buybacks are flying out, however. Joe Cam going to roll back in now. They do Swift Slash onto that Bat Rider. Doesn't really matter. He had a Lotus Orb. He does eventually die. Joe Cam cannot cancel the TP onto In Your Dream.
Normally.
Well, they do get the mid-racks. Sort of. The range racks is taken.
Yeah.
The fight's going to be over the next Roshan, though.
Yeah, and you can see Abid already forced the buyback. He knows he has to be around for this next play. And you also run the risk of just getting your mid and bot lane run in. So your Ancient's going to get some chip damage, which is never what you want. As you mentioned, Roche is being fought. Among Us have to fight in this one.
Hung. BKB's up. Gobble up is there onto the junk. Drew getting a nice little, just flying over to March, and he really wants to kill that Oracle off first. Make sure the false promise is not there. They do get him. He'll buy back.
Oh, Iway. He lost his Daedalus in the courier.
Oh.
He sacrifices buyback for that. He's going to have to hold for 3 minutes.
Uh-oh. That's really bad news for Among Us. So they are kind of countering out this Roshan, but Drew, he's not giving up on it yet. He goes back in for it. Oh, roll in with the kickback onto the timber. Cuckoo is going to be in a spot of danger. Swift Slash is going to be out. Arbet, he's going to survive. Now your RP is there. They have caught out the Timber Storm. The Omni Slash is going to go through, but it's not really doing too much damage. Drew needs to get out. He's been stunned up by the egg. They're going to turn around on this jug now. That BB also being caught out with the lasso is probably going to die. Drew is still trying to fight, but he has been disarmed by March, and the Stormhammer comes in from In Your Dream. They are going to wipe them. The TP's back towards their Ancient now as it is under siege by the creeps. While In Your Dream will rush for the Roshan pit. Go ahead and take it.
Jeez, 496, just not lining it up. They lose a big fight. They lose their Roshan. That's the third Rosh. So there was an Ags upgrade on the deck.
And Arbet stalls it with the courier.
Of course.
Yeah,
That's
he
good
literally
for
stole it off his team.
himself. I mean, he wants that double lasso. He doesn't trust his teammates to give it to him. You know, it is Among Us. There's
is
always
fair.
an imposter in their lineup.
That is true.
But this is huge. You know, double lasso now, or at least chained up lasso here for the side of Abid. And 496. I mean, they're still in a good spot because of the exposed Ancient. They just need to actually get there. And now they're going to have to defend out of their minds once they respawn. And it looks like Among Us, of course, they're not going to wait. They're just going to go as fast as possible. Q, who's already being a bit disruptive, chipping away. It's not much damage, but it's getting some chip damage on that Rax.
He'll get there eventually, John. Cuckoo's just going to keep it up. In Your Dream, he'll come in to help out. Arbet pulling the creep wave away. Getting set up for another tier 3 tower push. They will get the tier 3 tower. They are going to commit for that melee barracks. We'll be able to get it. Now 496. Are they able to punish it all? Doesn't really look like it.
Now you're at a very even game in terms of control on the map. So you've got 2 lanes shoving out for 496, 2 lanes shoving out for Among Us. And it's rather even for both. You do have a very big pickup here, though. I believe I did see a refresher come in, so that's going to be massive. But of course, that you do have to manage to actually get it off. And sometimes there's some early mana issues with that fast refresh. So we'll see just how much it can get done.
Very close game again. Dota Plus has been all over the place. It's a complete mess here, this game number 2.
Yeah, it's the Beyond the Summit logo, Mike, as you like to say.
Yes, sir.
There it is. Shows up.
The Australian version, though, just upside down.
Oh.
What's the play here now? I mean, there's no Roshan for a while. Obviously, both teams are quite hesitant to enter each other's bases. The next team fight might just decide the whole game. I don't think there's many buybacks left, and there's about half right now. They have been coming off cooldown.
Yeah. They've stalled out enough here in Among Us that they do have the Daedalus up. So the Couriers respawned here for IYD. Daedalus is in. MKB is going to be next. Oh, not MKB, sorry. Satanic's going to be next. Once you have that up, you can really sustain yourself in these fights. The drug damage output just does not feel great. Like, I look at Drew, you know, Scotty. It's all stats. There's no raw damage coming out here.
Swift slash, Cuckoo. Be fine. Does have the Lotus for the Omni. Both teams going to continue to avoid each other here.
It's slow chipping away at the least. 496 can't stop this under tier 2. So Among Us can look at the higher ground. They still hold that Aegis for a little bit longer. You're going to have some options here, and 496 will have to defend. Now there's a butterfly up that's going to help the cause. But they need to find the angle, and just getting the TPs out seems to be enough. Among Us take their time, TP home, and just keep waiting. 50-minute mark now, 32 to 34, 8k lead for Among Us. As we start to get some late game questions here. But can Drew out damage the Sven? Is Swift Slash going to be enough? So far, it's felt a bit lacking. I think you want some damage and control from Hung now as well. He is saving up for an Abyssal on that mag, but it is slow going for both. Drew is saving up for it as well, but you will want some buyback on hand first. We're not going to see any major pickup soon, and there is a smoke here from Among Us.
Abed can jump in, gets the lasso off onto Tap BB. They want the snap by dead first, and they are going to get it. Jokam, he's rolled in, but this could be dangerous. Aegis did expire. Roll back in onto Cuckoo. He's going to get the false promise and be just fine. You gotta remember the snap buy, he doesn't have buyback, so they can definitely keep going, but Arbed, Swift Slash is gonna get caught out, does get the refresher off, but needs a target for that lasso. He's gonna go after, Drew gets both of them, that's a great lasso out. They are just gonna get shredded by In Your Dream. Hung will jump in for the RP though, with the Omni Slash, they're gonna try and fight back. Looks like they might just get him as well, but Hung does die. Another Swift Slash coming out. Drew, he's attacking very quick, but Cuckoo is going to be able to walk away. Gets the false promise off onto Cuckoo, who does kill off Jokam, but they are starting to drop without buyback Among Us. That false promise, it does keep Cuckoo alive, but you've got so much damage out from Drew and the gang. They do get him. That could be the game. It's a 3v5.
It's a tight situation here for Among Us. They throw their bodies out a bit too much. They don't respect that power from 496. They still hold on, but I think 496, they've already committed their buybacks. They might look for the all-in play. They should know God's Strength's down for a bit longer. The Egg's down for a bit longer. No double lasso to worry about. No false
Oh, they're going
promise.
for the Megas.
Ah.
Okay, so not feeling confident enough to go straight for Throne in a 3v5. I guess it's fair, because In Your Dream is hitting like an absolute truck right now, but the Megas, they're going to be annoying to deal with, but it's not going to be the end of the game just because you got Mega Creeps here.
No. They've got really good wave clear with a Sven, with even the Timber Saw. They can kind of handle those Mega Creeps. We will get started. The creep wave is going to come in, but there's enough time for the respawn to kick in. So Abed and March are going to be up. Second Life is going to be ready. Double Lasso is going to be ready for a little bit longer. I think they can stall those 20 seconds out. They will go for the Ancient though.
Drew gonna get started, has the Empower as well with the Lotus Orb now, straight onto the Ancient, and if he's allowed to do that, he does take it quite fast, but Arbit, he's gonna be back up in 5 seconds, still they will just focus down the Ancient and the damage is way too high, but In Your Dream, he's trying to fight back, they get the Phoenix, the Ancient's still going down, and it will, 496. They do manage to get the 2-0 victory over Among Us. Very nice victory at that for 496. You did point out they needed a 2-0 victory to kind of secure their spot in the playoffs, and well, it looks like they're not necessarily secured yet, but they are definitely going to be feeling a lot safer now with that 2-0 victory over Among Us.
It's a very important win. They managed to find it. Among Us, that's their first complete loss here in the Monster Energy Dota Summit 13, so rather unfortunate for them, but 496 did play spectacularly well. We'll see how else it develops for Among Us. They have more games for 496. They're going to have to take a seat back, watch the rest of the groups, see if they're going to hold up. So there's some nervousness there as the groups go on, but we do have one more series on hand, Mike.
With that, we are going to move on. It is the final series of the day between the side of Team Stars and, of course, Signal Ultra. It's MLP Dota and johnxfire, and we'll see you all again in about 10-15 minutes for that final series of the night.